and I'm your hostess, Cindy Schumacher. On today's show, we'll be making Oktoberfest sausage, tossed salad with honey mustard dressing, buttermilk biscuits, and apple pie 63. We're going to start with the dessert because that takes the longest. So I'm going to put 28 caramels in my saucepan and a half cup of half and half. And you want to melt those on low, so just occasionally check them, keep stirring them, and then we're going to work on the crust. So I have 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour to this. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and 1/4 cup of sugar. Let's whisk that together. Okay, I have a half cup of butter or margarine. I always use butter. And take a pastry blender or forks or knives or whatever you are comfortable using. And we're going to work that into the flour mixture. This is a recipe that I found in the Pillsbury Bake Off cookbook. It was a grand prize winner. And it's kind of like a big apple pie in a sheet, and I thought it's a good time of the year to have that. Usually everybody has more apples than they know what to do with, and if you have hunters or visitors, it's a nice thing. It's easy to slice and serve, and you'll really like it. But my husband said it's better than apple pie, so if you want to take his recommendation. And it's a little bit of a twist on it. Also, it kind of has the caramel apple type of a feel to it because we've got the caramel sauce that we're pouring over. As soon as it is like course meal, then we're going to add 1/4 cup of water and 1/4 cup of oil. And a beaten egg. There's nothing better than the smell of apples cooking in the oven. Just, especially when the weather turns a little chilly. As soon as you have everything incorporated, then you take it and put it in your jelly roll pan. And it's ungreased. I think I've got it there. press this in the pan and up the sides a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect, just do your best to get a little bit of a crust going up the sides. If it's too perfect, people don't realize that it's homemade. They're gonna think that you bought it. Okay, it looks like that. We're going to skip over here and check down the caramels. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break and clean up, and then we'll finish on the dessert. I want to just tell you though, as we go through the program today, if you want a copy of any of these recipes, if you don't have internet, give the girls at Valley a call. They'll be happy to help you with a copy. And if you do have internet, go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytel.net. Click on the Country Cookin' Cow on the sides, and you'll find the recipes there. We'll be right back.
Blazing fast broadband internet from Valley is now available and better than ever. Let us help you decide which speed is best for you. The 50 meg speed would be sufficient for 1 to 4 devices, mainly emailing and surfing the web. Our 100 meg speed works great for 5 to 8 devices and multiple users streaming and downloading video. If you have 8 devices or more that are simultaneously streaming or gaming, or if you have a medium-sized business, the 250 meg speed would work best for you. For extreme heavy home or work from home use, or if you have a medium to large business using 15 or more devices, you may want to consider our 500 meg download speed to fit your needs. And if you're a home or business that needs it all, we have our 1000 meg, 1 gig broadband internet speed. Call our office today at 437-2615 and talk with one of our staff members to pick the speed that's best for you.
All right, we're gonna do the filling for the apple pie 63. I have 6 cups of peeled and sliced apples. To this, we're going to stir in a 1/3 cup of sugar, a 1/3 cup of flour, 1 to 2 teaspoons of freshly grated lemon peel, and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm going to squeeze fresh. Couple of seeds there. If you don't have fresh lemons, you can use the lemon juice in the bottle. I just, because I needed the lemon peel, I bought lemons for this. So, grab a spoon here. When I first started making this dessert, it kind of felt weird to me to not use cinnamon, but it doesn't call for cinnamon and it really doesn't need it. So, but I imagine if you felt like you wanted to add that, you could. Okay. Just spread it out evenly. And I always say it doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of distribute it all over. And I actually used a mixture of apples. I used Granny Smith, and I used some apples from my tree. So sometimes that gives you just a little bit of a more interesting flavor. Okay, now we're going to drizzle the caramel over the top. You can just kind of lightly spread it if you feel like you missed some spots. Okay, now I have an 8-ounce cream cheese that I have softened. To that I'm going to add an egg, and I need a 1/3 cup of sugar. Sometimes when I get ready, I think I have everything, and all of a sudden I look around and I'm missing something again. Doesn't take long, just beat it until it's smooth and creamy. Now here again, we're going to just drizzle it over the top. Okay, now I have a 1/3 cup of walnuts here, or is it a 1/4 cup? 1/3 cup. I have one of these handy little DeMaro nut choppers if you want to chop it by hand, but this, I actually enjoy chopping nuts out because it's so quick. A few pulls and your nuts are chopped nice and fine. Or the more pulls, the finer it gets. A slick deal. Okay, I preheated my oven to 375, and we're going to bake this for 35 to 45 minutes. Just start watching it when you hit that 35-minute mark. We're going to pop it in the oven, and then we'll clean up. We'll be right back. we're gonna work on the sausage. If you can't find Polska kielbasa in your store, I bought German sausage. They didn't have it when I was in there, so I've got about a little over 1.5 pounds there. Put it in the bottom of a Dutch oven, and to that then we're going to arrange all of our ingredients around there. We've got 2 cans of sauerkraut, and you don't have to drain it. Get a little spoon here. And then you take 4 to 6 medium potatoes that I've peeled and halved or quartered if they were a little big. Just kind of sprinkle those around. I've got an onion that I have wedged, so we'll just sprinkle that around. And then I've got 2 apples that I have peeled and quartered. And then I'm going to just kind of stir those around a little bit, just so that they're distributed pretty well. And then a cup of apple juice. Pour that over the top. And then salt and pepper to taste. Because the sauerkraut has a lot of salt in it, I'm not even going to salt it other than just a little sprinkle. Pepper I'm going to do pretty generously. We'll just do a little bit of a sprinkle there, and we'll get it going on the stove. This takes about around 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how high of a heat you're using. I'm going to do kind of about a medium-high heat, and we'll check that in a few minutes. And so we're going to start working on the biscuits. I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and I have a tablespoon of freshly snipped chives. I happen to still have some chives that I'm able to use in my yard. You can use dried chives, or you can also use green onions, just chop them a little finer. So we need a tablespoon of baking powder. A teaspoon of sugar. A half teaspoon of salt. I'm going to take a whisk and just kind of combine that. I always like to do that so that you don't have a clump of something somewhere. Just kind of whisk it together there. And to the dry ingredients then, we're going to add 3/4 cup of buttermilk and a 1/4 cup of oil. And just want to go ahead and mix those all together in your measuring cup. The nice thing about biscuits is you don't have to have any time to have it raised. Not everyone is a fan of biscuits, but if you don't overbake them, you know, they usually are a nice accompaniment to a meal like this. And then when you add a little bit of flavoring like chives, you could even stir in a little bit of cheddar if you wanted to. Like a shredded cheese. You want something like that. Okay, we're going to put them on our cutting board and and you want to knead it just about 10 times, just so it gets some firmness and incorporated. We're going to throw in about a tablespoon of chopped parsley. I have fresh parsley. If you don't still have fresh parsley, then go ahead and use the dried. I'm going to roll it out to about anywhere from a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch thick. Another nice thing about biscuits is it doesn't make such a big batch, so you don't have a bunch of them laying around. But you can use a 2-inch cutter. I'm actually using a 3-inch cutter because I like the biscuits to be just a little bit bigger and flatter. That's just the way I prefer my biscuits. Pull it up. I can hear the kettle sizzling. We're going to we've got about a teaspoon of butter, or tablespoon or so. I'm going to grease the cookie sheet. And then you want to lay them in there about 2 inches apart. You don't want them to touch. Got just a little tiny ball of dough here. Just pop it in. And then with the rest of your butter, you want to baste the top. These we're going to bake at 425 for about 15 minutes is all. Keep an eye on them, and if they need a little more time, that's okay. But they should be done in about 15 minutes. That's what they look like. I'm going to go pop them in the oven. We'll be right back.
Valley is now offering updated digital TV packages and prices. Ask us about the brand new Choice TV package. Call Valley today at 437-2615.
Okay, we're going to make the salad dressing. We're going to start with a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, 1/4 cup of honey, 1/4 cup of prepared yellow mustard, a 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Gives it just a little bit of a zip. A teaspoon of minced garlic. If you have the garlic in the jar, that's fine. A 1/2 cup of water. Whisk it together. This is one of the different dressings because you aren't using any oil, but you get the fat from the mayonnaise. So whisk it until it's nice and smooth. Everything's combined. Put it in the refrigerator to chill. And we'll just throw together the salad. I have a head of romaine that I have torn into pieces. To that we're going to add a cucumber, a cup of cherry or grape tomatoes, about a half of a red onion that I have slivered, and a 1/4 cup of sliced almonds. And then we're going to sprinkle some croutons on top. I just bought the Mrs. Kevinson's and just the regular seasoned croutons. You can get different flavors if you like. I just like the seasoned ones, and I can't get it open, so we're going to cut it. Okay. Set that aside. I'm going to take a quick break and clean up, but I want to remind you again that if you want a copy of any of these recipes, if you have internet, go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytel.net. You click on the videos, you click on the right side where it's the Country Cooking Cow, you'll find all the recipes there. If you don't have internet, give the girls at Valley a call, they'll be happy to help you with a copy. We'll be right back.
Internet is here. Valley now has higher broadband speeds of up to 1 gigabit. Get the bandwidth you need for all your devices at one time. Gaming with no lag time. Video stream your favorite movies instantly in HD quality. Video chat with friends and family without interruption. Download your favorite music and photos in seconds. All on our 100% fiber optics network. Valley offers managed Wi-Fi and backup services too, bringing together all the services you need. Valley Telecommunications Cooperative.
Okay, we've got everything done, so we'll get dishing. If you're not going to be using the whole salad at once, you want to serve your dressing on the side. Let your guests drizzle how much they want on there. This is hot out of the oven. You can serve it with ice cream if you like, or you can serve it with, I'm going to be serving it with Cool Whip. You can just serve it plain. It's delicious just plain, but sometimes a little bit of a dollop of something like that just makes it a little more festive. Now, we'll dish the Polska kielbasa, the German sausage, I guess in our case today. You can take this out and put it on a serving platter, or you can just serve it out of the kettle. If you're serving hunters or something like that, sometimes they like it to be a little more casual. So just do it like that. Reach down in, get some sauerkraut and some potatoes and apple. Biscuit on the side, and we're all set. We have our Oktoberfest sausage, our tossed salad with honey mustard dressing, buttermilk biscuits, and apple pie 63. Thank you for joining us today on this edition of Country Cooking. We hope to see you next time.